guys, what is up and welcome back to my channel. As you guys can tell from the title of today's video, I'm going to be filming the Finally Fall book tag. And this happens to be one of my very favorite tags throughout the entire year. This is something that I genuinely look forward to because I love it. I don't know why, but fall has always been and will always be my very, very favorite time of the year. And I think it's because when I was growing up, obviously winter was absolutely horrible. I really hated winter because it would get like negative 20 degrees where I was growing up in Alaska. And if you haven't dealt with that, it's literal hell. But I'm also not a huge fan of summer because I am such a cold individual. Like, I prefer my house to be cold and then bundle up. So when it's summertime, it's like you can only take off so much clothes before it becomes indecent. There's actually a story of me when I was little. I was like 7 or 8, and obviously I was going through puberty and it was like a really weird time in my life, but we were out for the summertime and we were at the fire station and everybody, like all the boys, had their shirts off because it was hot out and they were like running through the sprinklers, and I did the same thing, and my mom like dragged me home and was like, you cannot do that anymore, because I cannot stand being hot. So I think that fall is the perfect time for that. I don't know why I just told you that ridiculous story. I have so many stories, you guys, about how weird I was growing up. I'm not even joking, but I wanted to sit down and film the Finally Fall book tag because by the time you guys see this, we're like a couple days out from October, which is my very, very favorite time of the year. So I wanted to sit down and finally film the It's Finally Fall book tag. I'm going to tag a couple people down below. A lot of people have already done this before, but I feel like this is something that you can do every single year. So I'm going to go ahead and quit rambling, quit embarrassing myself, just get my shit together and start this video. So the first question we have here is, in fall, the air is crisp and clear. Name a book with a vivid setting. Now, I am definitely one of those people who, when it comes to vivid settings, I don't really have a whole lot that I can really speak about, but I will say a book that has really popped into my head as my #1 like vivid setting would have to be, which coincidentally is sitting right next to me, The Name in the Wind by Patrick Rothfuss. This book has such a vivid setting, and I think it's made even more vivid because of the music aspect of this book. Now, setting obviously doesn't necessarily need to mean the world. It can mean the character, the way the world works with the characters, with some sort of magic system. It's just the setting overall, and I definitely think Name of the Wind is top of my list of most vivid settings. And I want to actually reread this here soon. I was listening to the audiobook. I have actually read this before, but I was listening to the audiobook and I needed to set it down. But I think this is also a really good fall read, so I'm going to try to pick it up again this season as well. The next question we have here is, nature is beautiful but also dying. Name a book that is beautifully written but also deals with a heavy topic like loss or grief. I have actually a few books that I could say for that. The first one that pops into my head, which I think I may have used last year, is We Are the Ants by Sean David Hutchinson. This is a beautiful book. Honestly, it deals with a main character whose boyfriend actually kills himself and he's kind of left to pick up the pieces. And this is a lot about whether life is worth living, whether people are actually good or, and you know, like worth saving, or whether life is just shit. He has a really bad family life. But the reason why this book was so beautiful to me is the ending of the book. He does actually end up getting help, which leads me to wonder if aliens actually exist, which I think they do, but it can kind of be left to the reader's discretion on whether they do or don't, or he's just suffering some sort of mental breakdown. But overall, the friendships in this book and the loss and the love and the yearning, this book is definitely the pick for that. Question number 3, fall is back to school season. Share a nonfiction book that taught you something new. It has been a really long time since I've actually read a nonfiction book, so I don't have an answer for this one. I wish I did because I used to really like nonfiction. If you have any answers, please leave them down below so I can actually check them out. Alright, so question number 4 is, in order to keep warm, it's good to spend some time with the people we love. Name a fictional family, household, or friend group that you'd like to be a part of. Honestly, if I could be a part of any friend group, it would be this one. Honestly, if I could be a part of any friend group, like literally any friend group, it'd be the friend group from A Big Ship at the Edge of the Universe. You guys know I absolutely love this book so much. I love the author. I love everything about this world. If I could be friends with Nyla and Boots, I would die happy. Like, Orna would be my girl. Like, we would hang out on the daily, like the regular. I just love the characters in this book so much. The characters make this book, although the setting and the story is phenomenal. This is all around like one of the best books I've ever read in my entire life. I know a lot of you guys have actually read it because I speak about it so highly, which you guys have no idea how happy that makes me. But I just love the characters from this so much. And I think that if I could honestly be a part of anything, it would be a crew on their ship. Alright, question number 5 is, the colorful leaves are piling up on the ground. Show us a pile of fall colored spines. I have so many fall colored spines that it's ridiculous. So we have Ruin and Rising by Leigh Bardugo. I think this is a perfect example. We have any and all of my Robin Hobb, which is just right behind me. A lot of my Stephen King books have really pretty spines. I honestly don't own a whole lot of orange colored spines, however. We have Orange, the actual book Orange, that has an orange spine on it. Any of the Harry Potter books, as you guys can kind of see behind me, are a little bit fall-y. I unfortunately buy a lot of black books, so my shelves are pretty empty. Question number 6. Fall is the perfect time for some storytelling by the fireside. Share a book wherein somebody is telling a story. I actually have a really, really great choice for that. I'm gonna go with The Language of Thorns, Midnight Tales, and Dangerous Magic by Leigh Bardugo. These are actually more of a fairy tale story retelling, and I loved this book. I thought this was so, so cool. These are kind of like I said, takes on classic fairy tales that she's kind of redone. They're sort of illustrated throughout it, and I just love this. This is definitely one of those books that I think you could read to a child, although they are a little bit dark and kind of mysterious and a little bit spooky, so I don't know if it'd work in that kind of way, but I just really like this book, and this is definitely the book that pops in my head when I think of storytelling, because this is really just a story being told. All right, the next question is number 7. The nights are getting darker. Share a dark and creepy read. No one's gonna be surprised. I think I need to reread this book because I've been talking about it so much recently, and it'd be Needful Things by Stephen King. This follows our main character, well, not really our main character, but he's kind of like our villain in the book, Leland Gaunt. He opens a shop in this small town, and the people of the town can go and get pretty much anything they want from him. For some odd reason, he has exactly what they're looking for every single time they come into his store. But the kicker is that Leland wants you to do essentially like little tasks for him. Sometimes it's to play a prank on somebody, sometimes it's actually really cruel and kind of evil, and the violence starts to escalate within the story. It is so creepy. Like, yeah, it's dark, and yeah, it's messed up because it's obviously a horror novel, but it's also just really creepy. Like I've said before, while reading this book, there's times when it's daylight in this book, but for some reason, I always picture that it's at night because it just gives me such creepy atmospheric vibes. All right, so number 8 is The Days Are Getting Colder. Name a short, heartwarming read that could warm up somebody's cold and rainy day. For that, I'm actually gonna go with I Hear the Sunspot, which is actually a manga that I recently read, and it does follow our 2 main characters, one of which is deaf, one of which is not, and how the main character who isn't deaf is actually trying to kind of help the deaf character come out of the shell a little bit and realize that him being deaf is not his fault, and that it's not something that he needs to be ashamed of. And there's a little bit of a romance in this as well. So I think this is one of the most heartwarming mangas I've ever read, and it's probably my very, very favorite manga I've ever read. I think it was just so well done, and the story within it was so heartwarming and so touching and so beautiful. And if you're looking for something that's just going to make you feel really good, I think that you'll really like this one. Number 9 is fall. It returns every year. Name an old favorite that you'd like to return to soon. An old favorite that I would like to return to soon, I'm going to have to go once again with Needful Things. I loved Needful Things so much when I read it. It has been years since I read it though. It's definitely a book that has stuck with me, however, so it's not like rereading it to gain all the information back again. I still remember everything that happens, but it's definitely a book that I want to reabsorb and take back in because it has been so long, and like I said, I did love it so much when I read it. Alright, number 10 is fall is the perfect time for cozy reading nights. Share your favorite cozy reading accessories. I would have to say my favorite cozy reading accessories, like if I think about my favorite things that I need when I am reading, I need a big fluffy pillow. I do have an electric blanket. I broke down and bought an electric blanket last year, and I'm really glad that I did. I would have to say also like my cats, like cuddling with cats, a nice cup of tea, like something on in the background, whether it be music or TV or my husband playing a video game or something. Those are my favorite nights. I just think that they're really relaxing and they make me feel really homey and comfortable. And I think being comfortable while reading is the most important thing. And the last question is spread the autumn appreciation and tag some people. I'm going to go ahead and do that down below, which concludes this video. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up and think about subscribing. Down below, leave me your favorite cozy fall reading accessory. I would actually really like to know that because I'm always trying to be more cozy. Like, I try to live the cozy life constantly. So if you have any tips on how to be even more cozy, please leave them down below. But I will see you guys in my next video. Bye!